freedom and to save lives. You know, as I reflect back on the past 30 years of my military service, it's interesting to reflect on the places that I was sent, the far-flung reaches of the world, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Russian border, many other places. And what was that all about? It was about defending American interests and defending American lives. And it's interesting to me, on some missions, the lengths we would go to take out a bad guy. Millions of dollars expended to find a bad guy, because that man, or they were always men in this case, that man had intentions to kill American citizens. And it is troubling to me when I retired from the military, reflecting back on my service, that right here on homeland soil, we turn our backs on the most vulnerable, those who don't have a voice, and let them be massacred in the womb. We're talking about the stats from the federal government, 60 million abortions since Roe v. Wade was legalized in the 70s. And that's a catastrophe happening right here in our backyard with our neighbors. And many of the times, these are being caused or triggered by lies and deceptions from those advocating abortions. So we're here to offer you a good, reasonable, logical approach to this discussion. I'm cognizant it's a very serious issue that sparks political and emotional reactions to it, and it's so politicized, sometimes it's just so sad in America you can't even have a conversation on these kind of topics. So that's why you're going to hear from us a scientific and medical-based discussion on this, but more on that in a second. But as I dig into the research on abortion, it only gets worse the more I study it. According to Governor Wolf's Department of Health, there were over 30,000 abortions in Pennsylvania in 2017. Nearly 13,000 were from our African American population, and over 33,000 from our Hispanic population. Between the African American population and Hispanic population, that's 20% of our people giving over 50% of the abortions. There's something really wrong here. Something nefarious is going on. I hear a lot about social justice. I want to know where the social justice is of these people here. These people are my people, and we have to fight for all of them. And it's a hard topic. And that's just one of many of the troubling questions that it raises. But as I reflect back on my military service, starting on the Iron Curtain of the East German and Czechoslovakian borders, and then later Iraq and Afghanistan, the whole bottom line of all that was defending life and fighting for freedom. That's what our military does. And in many ways, you see up here great men and women elected to office. That's our job here in Harrisburg, is to defend life and to fight for freedom. And that's why we're here to fight, for you and for the unborn. So I'm thankful for all the men and women standing with me here, together side by side, on this very difficult issue here. And together, we're going to change history. We have a formidable We have Pennsylvania's A-team right up here, so look out, here we come. But we're going to come without fire and brimstone. We're going to come with love and kindness, speaking the truth with love. And the truth is a powerful thing. I'm reminded of the Democrat Speaker of the House in the 80s. His name was Tip O'Neill. And he said, you're entitled to your own opinions, but not your own facts. And you're going to see us coming here with facts that are established, not opinions that we think are facts. But before I continue, it's an honor for me to introduce a very dear friend of mine, Representative Rob Kaufman, representing the 89th Legislative District and also Chair of the House Judiciary Committee. And he's going to offer a few remarks. Rob, please.
Thank you, Doug. I am Doug's state representative, and Doug is my senator. And, some of you who are not in politics may not get it, but sometimes you coincide your districts, but you're not actually one another's representative. But we live in the same township back home, and I'm proud to have Doug as my senator. You know, I look around the room today and I see young people, and actually it makes me think back to the year 1989. I'm a native Pennsylvanian. 1989, I would have been about 15 years old. I see some young people in the room who are probably about that age. And I remember watching as a representative from, imagine it, Delaware County, Representative Steve Friend took ground in Harrisburg and spearheaded the legislation that was groundbreaking pro-life legislation in the United States of America in 1989. And actually, I remember as a senior in high school sitting in the U.S. Supreme Court room when Planned Parenthood versus Casey was argued, and being able to witness that, and seeing Pennsylvania become a history maker. William Penn, many of you young people, again, you learn about William Penn in your Pennsylvania history. He was a history maker. He was our founder. 1989, we were history makers, and I want to see Pennsylvania get back on the map again and take new territory and take new ground in protection of the unborn in Pennsylvania. There will be many people who will say, oh no, you can't do it because that person will say no, or that person may veto it, or that person may do something else. But we need to take a stand. In the House this year, we've already taken a stand for those who have a diagnosis in the womb of Down syndrome. I'm very proud of that. But we can take further territory and show where Pennsylvania legislators stand for life. And so I want to thank Senator Mastriano and Representative Borowitz for their steadfast leadership. You know, sometimes it takes new blood and new energy to get new things done. And both Representative Borowitz and Senator Mastriano are new to this building, but we are thrilled to have them because they have great new energy, and I am proud to be with them as they lead the fight for the unborn in Pennsylvania. Thank
you. And Rob, I'm honored to have you as my representative. We are blessed. He really is the real deal and a great leader. As I highlighted, the topic of abortion is one of those topics that's really hard to discuss these days in our country. And that's why I offer to you the best way forward is a scientific medical approach. Consider this, that when Roe v. Wade came into existence, science and medicine were 50 years old. Think back to the times of all the advances that have happened between Roe v. Wade in the 70s, based off of 60s science to today. And it's dramatically a different time that we live in. And we know a lot more about what's going on in the womb than opposed to what they understood in the 70s. The argument back then was, hey, and still used today, a logical fallacy. Oh, that's just a blob of tissue. No, that baby there from its conception to its birth is a human, beginning end. What else could it be? A bald eagle? Labrador retriever? No, it's a baby from beginning to end. And anyway, sometimes logic is hard to get around, so let's press forward there. Think about the genetic code, the breaking of the genome, the DNA. DNA, we know, at conception, at that instant, there's a spark of light. This is scientifically proven, a little explosion almost within the womb. And that's a spark of light that our forefathers used to talk about hundreds of years ago. That was popular during the Civil War. They had no idea, but there was some truth in that saying, a spark of light. And then within that new code of just a few cells is a genetic code, and each cell is packed into, it's a string that's pulled out to 3 feet long in each cell. And that's a design there. And the hair color, or lack thereof, in my case, the eye color, the height, the genetic code going back 5 generations from great-grandparents is right there captured in that moment. You have a distinct individual that will never exist again. Really a one-in-a-kind person, a beautiful person. And who knows, maybe that person is going to figure out the cure to cancer, some cancer. Maybe that one there is going to stand in a gap and fight against some tyrant down the road. And sadly, in so many cases, we just don't know. So that's why we're here about preserving and protecting the human potential in each one of these unique people that deserve a chance for life. The fact of the matter is that modern science is undeniable in this view of the humanity of that person and its uniqueness in the human race. And then the additional breakthroughs in 3D, 4D technology with sonograms, you can see what's going on there. We're going to have a little demonstration here shortly for you. It's just undeniable and irrefutable. That is a human baby. He or she deserves to live. All right, let's look at it at a practical level here. Somebody has a health crisis and you call 911 and the responders come in, the first thing they look for is a pulse, a heartbeat. And if there's no heartbeat, 99.9% of the time that person's declared dead on the spot there. The heartbeat marks the end of life, therefore it should mark the beginning of life. Just applying logic and science. And that's why, and with this view, and there's so much more, but I'm not going to bore you with more. The information's out there. That's why we proudly announced to you Senate Bill 912 and House Bill 1977 to protect babies once there is a heartbeat.